The wrong way to compare Zapier, Make, and N8N is to ask, which automation tool is best? It sounds useful, but it usually leads to the wrong answer. The better question is, what kind of automation are you actually trying to build? If your workflow is simple, predictable, and mostly about moving data between common apps, one platform may make more sense. If your workflow has branches, approvals, and visual logic, another may fit better. And if your workflow needs deeper technical control, custom code, self-hosting, or AI agents you can inspect step by step, the answer changes again. AI makes that decision more complicated. Zapier is pushing AI workflows, agents, chatbots, tables, forms, and automation across a very large app ecosystem. Make is positioning itself around visual automation and transparent AI agents that help businesses automate complex work while keeping visibility into decisions and connections. N8N is pushing AI agents and workflows you can see and control with visual building, deeper code options, and deployment on your own infrastructure or theirs. So this is not just a tool comparison. It is a workflow decision. And if you choose the wrong platform, you may not notice at first. The first automation might work. The demo may look clean. The template may feel impressive. But a few weeks later, the real problems can appear. Maintenance, cost control, debugging, permissions, AI errors, messy logic, or workflows that nobody on your team actually understands. So the real question is not, which tool is popular? The real question is, which tool matches the way you actually work? Automation used to be mostly about connecting apps. A lead comes in, add it to a spreadsheet, send an email, create a task, notify a team channel, move a file, update a CRM. That kind of automation is still useful. But the AI layer is changing what people expect these platforms to do. Now users want automations that can read messy information, summarize content, classify messages, decide which path to take, draft responses, query databases, call tools, and involve a human only when needed. That is why Zapier, Make, and N8N are all moving beyond simple, if this, then that, workflows and into AI workflows and agentic automation. For creators, marketers, freelancers, SEO professionals, bloggers, automation builders, and online business owners, this matters because their work is full of repetitive digital operations. A creator may need to collect research sources, turn transcripts into content briefs, repurpose a video into a newsletter, and update a content calendar. A marketer may need to capture leads, enrich contact records, summarize sales calls, route campaign tasks, and trigger follow-up sequences. An SEO professional may need to monitor pages, collect keyword data, organize content briefs, check competitor updates, and build reporting workflows. A small business owner may need to manage customer inquiries, invoice reminders, onboarding tasks, document collection, and internal updates. These are not always creative tasks. They are coordination tasks. And coordination is where automation has value. But the important part is this: AI does not automatically make every workflow better. Some workflows do not need AI at all. If the rules are fixed, the inputs are clean, and the outcome needs to be consistent every time, classic automation may be the better choice. Sending a notification, updating a record, moving a file, or running a scheduled job does not always need an agent. That idea should shape the entire comparison. The future is not AI agents everywhere. The future is choosing the right mix of deterministic automation, AI assistance, human review, and technical control. Zapier, Make, and N8N are all workflow automation platforms. At the simplest level, they help you connect apps and create workflows where one event triggers another action. A form submission can create a CRM record. A new sale can trigger a customer email. A new document can create a task. A new spreadsheet row can update another system. But each platform has a different personality. Zapier is often the easiest to understand for non-technical users. Its main strength is broad app connectivity and fast no-code setup. Based on the research, Zapier supports AI workflows, AI agents, chatbots, tables, forms, Canvas, enterprise features, and more than 9,000 apps. That makes Zapier practical when your main goal is to connect common business apps quickly. Make is more visual and scenario-driven. It is built around visual workflow design, where you can see modules, routes, branches, conditions, and data flow across a process. Makes it iAgent positioning focuses on automating complex work while keeping visibility into how decisions are made, how systems connect, and how costs scale. That makes Make strong when you care about visual orchestration and want to understand how the workflow moves from step to step. N8N is more technical and flexible. It positions itself as a platform where you can build visually, go deeper with code, connect to almost anything, trace every step of an agent's reasoning on the canvas, and deploy on your infrastructure or theirs. That makes N8N especially interesting for technical teams, builders, agencies, and automation operators who want deeper control, custom logic, or self-hosting options. The AI angle is where the comparison becomes more serious. Zapier agents are positioned as AI teammates that can work across business apps using company knowledge. Make AI agents are positioned as a decision layer on top of automation, not a replacement for automation itself. And N8N describes AI agents as autonomous workflows powered by AI that can make decisions, interact with apps, and execute tasks using memory, goals, and tools like web search or database access. So, the cleanest way to think about it is this. Zapier is strong for fast no-code app automation. Make is strong for visual workflow orchestration. N8N is strong for flexible technical automation and deeper control. But none of those labels should be treated as a universal rule. The right choice depends on the workflow. Automation starts with a trigger. Something happens in one system. A form is submitted. A lead arrives. A file is uploaded. A row is added to a spreadsheet. A support ticket is created. A calendar event changes. That trigger starts the workflow. Then the automation runs actions. It may create a record, send an email, update a spreadsheet, generate a document, post a message, call an API, classify text, summarize content, or route the task to a person. The classic version is predictable. If this happens, do that. AI adds a new layer. Instead of only following fixed rules, the workflow can use a model to interpret messy input. It can summarize a message, decide which category it belongs to, extract important details, draft a response, identify risk, or choose a path based on context. This is where the workflow changes. In a normal automation, you define the steps clearly in advance. In an AI-assisted workflow, you may define the goal, the context, the tools, the limits, and the approval points. The AI helps with interpretation, but the automation platform still controls the process around it. That distinction matters. The best automation is not just a clever AI prompt. It is a system. It has a clear trigger. It has clean data. It has defined tools. It has fallbacks. It has error handling. It has human review where needed. It has logs so you can understand what happened. And it has limits so the AI does not take actions it should not take. Zapier's advantage is speed and app coverage. It can help users connect common apps quickly and build workflows without much technical setup. That can be powerful when a creator, marketer, or small business owner wants useful automation without building infrastructure. Make's advantage is visual structure. When a workflow has multiple branches, filters, conditions, and steps, being able to see the scenario can help with planning and maintenance. N8N's advantage is control. Its positioning around code depth, infrastructure choice, traceability, manual approvals, debugging, and guardrails makes it useful for workflows where control matters more than simplicity. But human judgment is still required. Automation does not remove accountability. A workflow can run correctly and still solve the wrong problem. An AI step can sound confident and still classify something incorrectly. A lead routing system can be fast and still send the wrong message to the wrong person. A content automation can save time and still produce generic output. The tool matters. But the workflow design matters more. For creators, a common old workflow is content repurposing. You publish a video. Then you manually copy the transcript, summarize it, write a newsletter, create social posts, update a content calendar, and save everything in folders. With automation, that process can become more structured. A new video file or transcript can trigger a workflow. AI can summarize the transcript. The automation can create drafts for a newsletter or social posts. It can store the outputs in a document tool. It can notify you to review them before publishing. Zapier may make sense if the creator wants a fast connection between common apps like forms, spreadsheets, documents, email, and task tools. Make may make sense if the workflow has multiple paths for YouTube, LinkedIn, newsletters, and blog posts. N8N may make sense if the creator or agency wants deeper control, custom processing, or a more technical content system. But the manual check is still important. The creator needs to review the voice, the accuracy, the angle, and the final message. AI can help repurpose content, but it should not define the brand alone. For marketers, a strong use case is lead management. The old process might look like this. A lead fills out a form, someone manually checks the details, copies the information into a CRM, sends a follow-up email, assigns a task, and updates a spreadsheet. A better automation can capture the lead, enrich or classify the information, create or update a CRM record, trigger a follow-up, and alert the right person. If AI is involved, it might help summarize the lead's message, identify urgency, or suggest the right category. Zapier may be attractive here because of its broad app ecosystem and no-code setup. Make may be attractive when the lead workflow has more branching logic, such as different paths for agencies, e-commerce, consulting, and enterprise leads. N8N may be attractive when the business needs custom API calls, more technical control, or self-hosted workflows. The manual check is the quality of the data. Bad form data, unclear lead intent, or weak AI classification can create poor follow-up. The workflow should include review steps for high-value or sensitive leads. For SEO professionals, a realistic use case is content operations. The old process might involve manually collecting keyword ideas, checking competitor pages, creating briefs, assigning writers, tracking status, and updating spreadsheets. A workflow can help gather inputs, organize research, create brief templates, move tasks through a content pipeline, and notify editors when a piece is ready for review. AI can help summarize competitor pages or cluster research notes, but it should not decide the entire strategy without review. Zapier may be enough for simple task routing and updates between common content tools. Make may be stronger when the SEO workflow has many branches, such as different paths for new articles, content refreshes, technical fixes, and client approvals. N8N may be better for technical SEO teams that want custom scraping, API integrations, database logic, or more controlled AI workflows. The manual check is strategy. A workflow can organize research, but a human still needs to decide which topics matter, which claims are accurate, and whether the content helps the audience. For freelancers and small agencies, a practical use case is client onboarding. The old process often includes sending a welcome email, collecting documents, creating folders, setting up a project board, scheduling a call, creating an invoice, and sending reminders. Automation can turn that into a repeatable system. When a client signs a form or pays an invoice, the workflow can create folders, send onboarding instructions, generate tasks, update a CRM, and remind the client about missing information. Zapier is useful when you want this working quickly across common tools. Make is useful when onboarding has more complex paths depending on service type, package, or client status. N8N is useful when the agency wants custom client portals, internal databases, or more advanced logic. But the manual check is relationship quality. Client onboarding is not just task movement. Someone still needs to make sure the client feels understood, the scope is correct, and the next step is clear. For automation builders, the use case is even more direct. The old process might be custom scripts, manual API work, fragile spreadsheets, or disconnected tools. Zapier, Make, and N8N can all reduce that burden in different ways. Zapier helps builders deliver fast automations for common business tools. Make helps builders design visible scenarios with branching logic. N8N helps builders go deeper with code, custom systems, agent workflows, and infrastructure control. The manual check is maintainability. A workflow is not finished just because it runs once. It has to be understandable, debuggable, secure, and safe when something goes wrong. Compared with manual work, all three tools can reduce repetitive effort. Manual work gives you control, but it is slow. You move data from one app to another. You check messages, you copy information, you update records. You remind people. You create tasks. Automation removes some of that friction. But it also introduces a new responsibility, designing the workflow carefully. A bad manual process is annoying. A bad automated process can scale the mistake. Compared with ChatGPT alone, automation platforms are more operational. ChatGPT can help you think, draft, summarize, classify, and plan. But unless it is connected to tools through a workflow or agentic system, the work often stays in the chat. Zapier, Make, and N8N are built to connect apps, trigger actions, and move work through systems. So ChatGPT may help write the email. But an automation platform can decide when the email should be created, where the lead data comes from, which CRM record should be updated, and when a human should approve the message. Compared with Google Search, these tools solve a different problem. Google Search helps you find information. Automation tools help you move information and trigger actions. A marketer may use Google to research a process, but Zapier, Make, or N8N is where that process becomes a repeatable workflow. Compared with older automation tools, AI automation adds flexibility. Traditional automation is excellent when the logic is stable. If the trigger and action are always the same, classic automation is often better. Based on Make's guidance, AI agents are not needed when rules are predictable and outcomes must be consistent every time. AI is more useful when the input is messy. A customer message may be written in different ways. A support ticket may need classification. A transcript may need summarization. A lead may need context. A document may need extraction. A research task may require judgment. That is where AI can help. But AI should not be added just because it sounds advanced. The best workflow uses classic automation for predictable steps and AI for interpretation. Compared with each other, the tools come down to user type and workflow complexity. Zapier is often the practical choice for users who want to move fast, connect many common apps, and avoid technical setup. That makes it strong for creators, marketers, small businesses, and teams that need automation quickly. Make is often better when the user wants a more visual map of the workflow. It can be useful for people who need to see branches, roots, and logic clearly, especially when workflows become more complex. N8N is often stronger for technical users who want more control. It may fit developers, technical marketers, agencies, and automation specialists who care about custom logic, infrastructure, traceability, and deeper workflow design. But none of this means one tool is universally better. The wrong tool is the one that does not match your workflow, your technical skill, your risk level, and your maintenance needs. Before choosing any of these tools, there is one major limitation. Automation does not fix a broken process. If your manual workflow is unclear, automation will usually make it unclear faster. If your lead qualification logic is weak, automation will scale weak qualification. If your content process produces generic ideas, AI automation may produce generic content faster. If your client onboarding is confusing, automation may simply confuse people at scale. So before you automate, define the process. What starts the workflow? What information is required? What decisions need to be made? Which steps are predictable? Which steps need human review? What happens if the AI output is wrong? What happens if an app connection fails? Most people skip that part. They start with the tool. They should start with the workflow. There is also the risk of over-automation. Not every task needs AI. Not every workflow needs an agent. Not every decision should be automated. Make's guidance is useful here. AI agents are better when tasks require thinking, inputs vary widely, decisions depend on context, or the logic becomes hard to maintain. They are not the right fit when the task just needs doing, rules are predictable, and outcomes must be consistent every time. That is one of the most important ideas in this comparison. Use AI where judgment slows the process down. Use classic automation where repetition slows the process down. Another risk is blind trust. AI can hallucinate, it can misread context. It can classify a message incorrectly. It can summarize away important details. It can draft a confident response that does not match your brand or your policy. Based on the research, N8N specifically mentions risks like hallucinations, runaway loops, and unintended actions, along with controls such as manual approval nodes, logging, debugging tools, memory limits, rate limiting, and retries. That is why human review is not optional in serious workflows. If the task touches customers, money, legal risk, private data, public messaging, or client relationships, there should be an approval step. There is also the issue of data privacy. Automation tools often connect to email, CRMs, spreadsheets, documents, customer records, payment systems, and internal databases. When AI is added, you need to think carefully about what data is being sent where, which model is being used, who has access, and whether the workflow follows your privacy and security requirements. Based on the research, N8N emphasizes that users can self-host to retain control over their data and configure AI interactions to limit what is sent to third-party models. That does not mean N8N is automatically the right answer for everyone. It means privacy and control should be part of the decision, especially for technical teams and businesses handling sensitive information. Another limitation is maintenance. An automation that works today may break later because an app changes its API, a form field changes, a team member renames a column, or an AI model starts responding differently. Zapier's safety guidance around agents emphasizes starting with scope, keeping humans in the loop where it matters, screening what flows through agents, and monitoring over time. That applies to all three tools. Automation is not set it and forget it. It is build it, monitor it, improve it, and control the risk. So which AI automation tool should you use? The honest answer is that it depends on the workflow. Use Zapier when you want fast no-code automation across common apps, especially if you are a creator, marketer, freelancer, or small business owner who needs useful automations without deep technical setup. Use Make when you want visual control over complex scenarios, branching logic, and workflows where seeing the structure matters. Use N8N when you need more technical flexibility, custom logic, deeper control, traceability, self-hosting options, or AI workflows that need guardrails and inspection. But the bigger lesson is not about choosing one logo. The bigger lesson is that automation is splitting into layers. There is classic automation for predictable tasks. There is AI assistance for messy interpretation. There are agents for tasks that require context and decisions. And there is human review for judgment, safety, quality, and accountability. The strongest workflow does not use AI everywhere. It uses the right layer in the right place. So the practical next step is simple. Choose one repeated workflow in your business or content process. Not your most sensitive workflow, not your most complex workflow. Choose one task that wastes time every week but has clear steps. Map it manually first. What triggers it? What data comes in? What actions happen? Where could AI help? Where should classic automation handle the task? Where does a human need to approve the output? Then test the workflow in the tool that fits your situation. If you want speed and app coverage, start with Zapier. If you want visual scenario control, test Make. If you want technical depth and control, test N8N. But do not judge the tool by how impressive the first demo looks. Judge it by whether the workflow becomes easier to run, easier to understand, easier to fix, and safer to scale. That is the real automation decision. Not which tool is the most powerful, which tool helps you build a workflow you can actually trust.